Back then, in a time that now feels so distant, technology seemed like magic. Cell phones were heavy bricks, TVs were massive square boxes, and entertainment came with a play on the VHS. Today, everything has changed. Those devices that once seemed so modern are now nothing more than memories of what once was. But what really blows our minds is how quickly everything evolved, transforming our world in ways we never imagined. What if you could travel back in time for a moment and see how those tech relics compare to the marvels we have today? Join us on this nostalgic journey where each change will surprise you more than you ever expected. Get ready, because the future of the past is going to leave you speechless. Remember the sound of the first cell phone ringtone you ever heard in the 90s? It was such a strange sound, yet so futuristic. Owning a cell phone back then was like having a piece of science fiction in your hands. That brick phone, which barely fit in your pocket and weighed more than your backpack, was the ultimate symbol of status. The Motorola StarTAC and the Nokia 5110 became icons, not because they were the best, but because they were all we had. The screens were tiny and monochrome, but that didn't matter. Calling was all that mattered. There were no apps, cameras, or internet, but back then it felt like we were living in the future. It was the promise of a new world, even though we were just getting started. And then what happened to that future from the 90s? It arrived with a bang, and now phones are no longer just phones. They've become extensions of our very selves. Imagine this: endless screens, cameras that capture every moment in professional quality, detail, and instant access to anywhere in the world with just a tap. Today's smartphone is a powerful machine, a supercomputer in the palm of your hand. Want to know what's happening on the other side of the globe? One click and you're there. We don't just call anymore, we live with these devices. Social, media, live videos, gaming, work, shopping, payments, everything in your pocket. What once was a simple phone has now become our window to the world. The future we dreamed of in the 90s is now a daily reality we can't live without. Who remembers the feeling of turning on the TV back in the 90s? The screen was square, the remote control felt like a treasure, and if you were lucky enough to own a color TV, that was the luxury. But let's be real, tube TVs were almost a ritual. That crackling sound when turning it on, the image flickering until it found the right signal, and the good old static on open channel stations. And those heavy screens? Hard to move and fit into any space in the house, but it didn't matter. It was the way to connect with the world. The TV was the center of the home, where everything revolved around it. From soap operas and cartoons on VHS to afternoon talk shows. The 90s TV was the window to the future, but it was far simpler than the future we have today. Yet over time, the magic of the screen began to take on new forms. Now picture this. That bulky tube screen that seemed so futuristic in the 90s has been replaced by a sleek, slim screen with jaw-dropping resolution. We're talking about smart TVs, where the remote control is now just part of the experience. Because today with one tap, you've got access to Netflix, YouTube, Twitch, and endless entertainment options. The colors more vibrant, the image flawless. The TV is now a true multimedia hub, where you can watch movies in 4K, play video games online, have video calls, and even control your smart home. What was once a ritual to turn on the TV and watch a live show has now become an interactive exploration. Journey! The evolution isn't just about size or shape, it's about how we consume content. The future from the 90s arrived and transformed into the present, even more amazing than we ever imagined. Get ready for a viewing experience that will change everything. Hey, are you enjoying this trip down memory lane? Then what are you waiting for? If you haven't subscribed yet, now's your chance. Remember, the 90s nostalgia doesn't stop here. Subscribe now and don't miss out on any of this amazing journey of memories and fun. Because if you grew up in the 90s, you know these memories shouldn't be forgotten. They deserve to be celebrated. And for that, you need to be part of everything we're bringing. Let's relive everything that made that decade unforgettable. Hit that subscribe button and join this journey. Do you remember the excitement of going to the video rental store, picking out that movie you'd been waiting to watch for days, and finally getting home with the VHS tape? It was almost like a sacred ritual. The sound of the video cassette loading, the tape spinning, the screen slowly coming to life. The picture, often blurry with those horizontal lines, was the price to pay for an experience that, at the time, was the revolution of entertainment. Movies and shows arrived on a tape that felt almost magical, promising hours of fun. But there was also the drama of rewinding the tape before returning it, or risking a late fee. But oh, how those films made us feel like part of another world. The magic of the VHS was unique, and no matter how simple it was all we needed. Today, what once was a process full of anticipation and rituals, like going to the rental store, picking out a movie, and even rewinding the tape, can now be done with a simple click. Streaming has come to change everything. Netflix, Disney+, Amazon Prime. With just one tap, you have access to an entire universe of movies and shows without ever leaving your house. The picture? Perfect! The sound? Immersive. The experience? Unmatched. Gone are the days of worrying about a demagnetized tape or the desperation of finding a movie that's always rented out. Now, entertainment is in the palm of your hand, ready to be consumed at any time, from anywhere. What once seemed impossible is now an everyday reality. The future we dreamed of in the 90s has arrived, and it has transformed into something we never imagined. A world of endless possibilities in our devices. Who remembers the feeling of saving a file to a floppy disk? That small piece of plastic that seemed like a secret being kept. In the 90s, floppy disks were the heroes of the digital age. With a capacity of just 1.4 alpha-meter by now, basically nothing compared to today's standards. They were our trusty companions, carrying documents, photos, and precious files from one computer to another. That tense moment when you inserted the disk and crossed your fingers hoping it wouldn't freeze. If the floppy was corrupted, say goodbye to your files, and the sound of it going into the drive, it was like a digital symphony. But despite all the limitations, floppy disks were a revolution. They were quite literally our entire digital world on a small piece of plastic, and we loved them because back then, it was all we had. Today, when we think of storage, everything boils down to the cloud. No, not the sky. I'm talking about how our entire digital life is now stored in the clouds, ready to be accessed anywhere. No more fragile, limited floppy disks. Now, we have gigabytes and terabytes of storage at our fingertips with the security and convenience of accessing our files instantly. The cloud has become our new digital memory, limitless, without fear of failure or lost files. You can store photos, videos, music, and even large work documents, accessing everything from any device, anytime, with just a click. What was once a task full of uncertainty and risk has now evolved into a revolution of convenience and security. The transition from floppy disks to the cloud isn't just about storage, but about a shift in how we live and interact with the digital world. In the 90s, video game consoles were a portal to the future. The Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and later the PlayStation were like dream machines, offering virtual worlds that seemed impossible at the time. Remember the feeling of turning on the TV and seeing those pixelated screens with simple graphics, but with a unique magic. It didn't matter if Mario looked a little blocky or Sonic had few details. Each movement, each level was an adventure. The idea of 3D graphics seemed like science fiction, but even with the limitations of the time, the joy of playing was immeasurable. With each new console generation, the promise of more realistic graphics and even more immersive worlds seemed far away. Yet it made us dream of what was to come. The 90s consoles weren't just machines, they were portals to worlds that only imagination could reach. Now, look at 2025. What was once a dream is now an undeniable reality. The PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and upcoming futuristic consoles are supercomputers delivering graphics and realism that make the 90s games look like childhood toys. We're talking about open worlds, textures that you can almost touch, animations flowing seamlessly, and immersion so deep that it's hard to tell the real world from the game. Ray tracing, 8K resolution, and frame rates that were once unattainable are now standards. And this is just the beginning. No more hardware limitations restricting the vision of developers. Games like Cyberpunk 2077, Horizon Forbidden West, Or future titles in 2025 have graphics that make you feel every element of the virtual world as if it were real. The evolution of graphics from 1990 to 2025 is a surreal journey that redefines the way we play, playing with our senses, not just with our fingers. Back then, we only had simple sunglasses, but today we have sunglasses with built-in sound, like the Oakleys with speakers, allowing us to listen to music while still protecting our eyes. Back in the day, we had manual toys like Rubik's Cubes and plastic figurines. But now we have smart toys like drones and app-controlled robots, bringing playtime into the future. In the 90s, photographs were taken with analog cameras and developed on paper. But now, our photos are on our phones in ultra-high resolution, ready to be edited and shared instantly. Huge TVs which dominated living rooms have been replaced by sleek smart TVs, offering instant access to the digital world. And who remembers the battery-powered radio? Today we have Bluetooth speakers that are more powerful, portable, and wireless. With every passing year, what once seemed impossible has become a reality, and the future we imagined in the 90s is already part of our present. Get ready for what's coming next, because the future keeps surprising us. Did you enjoy reliving those moments from the 90s? The nostalgia of that era is more alive than ever, and I'm sure you've got some amazing stories and memories from that time that shaped so many generations. If you love revisiting the best of the 90s as much as we do, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Tell us, what was your favorite product from that era? Or what 90s memory still makes you smile today? And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any content packed with nostalgia. Let's keep these memories alive. See you in the next video, where we'll continue to travel through time and rescue everything that made the 90s so special.